Hello, good evening, and welcome back. It's been 84 long days, but we're here for the IRL F1 League. Invictus Racing League is back on circuit. We're back at Mexico. I'm joining you, myself, Gareth Hall, by Sab, as usual. Good evening, Sab. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, good evening, Gareth. It is good to be back, isn't it? This January we've just had seems to be the longest January ever, but we are back. It's February and a bit of Monday night racing in the IRL F1. Can't get any better. That surely February's going to be better now we're back.
Yeah, and as I said, 84 days. It feels like it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And I'm not going to lie, I feel a bit rusty. It's taken a while. We've all had Christmas. We've all looked. Try to keep safe during this lockdown, and hopefully we can provide some entertainment this evening with some great racing. We've seen some superb racing last season, didn't we? Especially for the title. It ended up going to Vietnam between Harry and Gamer taking it in the end. So fingers crossed going into this season. We can see just as equally a dramatic end to the season like we did last season.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's going to be a fascinating season we've got ahead of us, and we're really glad you guys are here to join us on that journey. It's the premier class of the Invictus Racing League drivers. Of course, all of these drivers using no performance-based assists, so no ABS, no traction on the cars whatsoever. And yeah, it's going to be a really interesting one. I'm looking forward to this. Of course, CRG Gamer moving on from this season, leaving Harry, who was really his only rival over the last two seasons, as you've got to think, Sab, as the odds-on favourite for this one. Big pressure on Harry's shoulders.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. I was just looking through my notes, and I have to say Harry would have to be the favourite. He's pushed Gamer, hasn't he, for the last couple of seasons, right to the limit, and you'd surely be thinking going into this season now, the element of Gamer not being there, that consistency from Gamer not being there now, Harry surely has a great chance to go for that title. But you can't rule out the rest of this league, can you? Because there's some really fast guys in here. We've seen some people stepping up this season from a lower league in F2, and we've seen some new people as well, and you've got some returners as well, likes of Charlie coming back into this season. So you will put Harry as favourite, but I don't think it's going to be straightforward for him, not at all this season.
No, absolutely not. And yeah, just looking over a few of the other teams, Sab, I'm sure we've both got our notes up here on screen, and there's a couple of interesting ones. Of course, some new drivers coming in, some rookies to Invictus, some movements from F2 making their way up to F1. We've got the likes of Hatari coming up from F2. Of course, he was second in the championship in F2, only to Monster Blue, who equally makes his way up to F1 this season. And but along the lines of Beasthass as well, we saw him do very well in F2 last season. It's and of course you've got the return of Charlie Harris. He'll be making his resign, and J Cole, who did very nicely in that quick foray back in Vietnam a couple of months ago. He makes a full-time appearance in the series this time around. So it's yeah, full of interesting prospects.
Oh, most definitely. And just going over my notes, I have to say one team I am keeping a close eye on this season, I'd have to say, is the Alpha Tauri team of TL44S and Beasthass. You've just mentioned Beasthass. He had a good season in F2, and I think TL44S, I think he's one to watch this season. He's shown a lot of promise last season. I'd say he was arguably the standout F1 driver from last season to make such a leap forward. He was a lot more consistent. He produced some great performances. He was very unlucky in a few races as well, especially if I remember in Holland, where I think he was comfortably on for at least a podium, and unfortunately ended up DNF in that race. So I think the AlphaTauri team of Beasthass and TL4 could be a team to watch this season, especially go for that constructors title.
Yeah, and they will be on circuit very, very shortly, and so are you, by the looks of it, if you don't press spectate pretty shortly. But yeah, we've been caught with that one before. But yeah, welcome guys. Great to see you all dropping into the stream this evening. My name is Gareth Hall, and you can find me on Twitter at GT2_driving and Alan Sabatino at Alan Sabatino. For Sab, we'll be bringing you the IRL PS4 F1 League this season every Monday night at 8 p.m. Stream will usually start around about 7:55. We thought we'd just kick it off a little bit early just to go through a few things that's with the goings on between the seasons. And yeah, if you look back, of course, Vietnam, we had our biggest race ever, over 1,500 views on that. It was a crazy evenings racing, brilliant night if you were a COG gamer at 62, and the Mercedes team who snatched both the drivers and the constructors champions away from the Williams of both Scott and Harry. And Scott and Harry making the jump over to Renault Power, so deciding to leave the Grove-based unit for this season over to Renault. Do you think that will just maybe freshen up the scene for Scott and Harry taking that push for the constructors?
It could well do. I think it'll take a minute or two for us to get used to that. We're so used to seeing them in that white Williams. To see them in the yellow and black of the Renault will be interesting. And you mentioned Scott. I think we all know what Scott's about, don't we? He's fast. He's hard pushed. He knows when to take a dive down the inside. So expect similar, I think, this evening in the Renault Power. And Harry, I'm sure, if he can be as consistent as ever, will be keeping that Renault as firmly at the front of the grid as possible.
And yeah, it's going to be a fascinating one. Just to run through the teams for you all, guys, before we get started. So we have the Mercedes-AMG Petronas team. That will be F2 promotee Hatari and IRL rookie Finn Marcus in the second seat there. So Marcus making his first appearance in IRL alongside Hatari, who's a very interesting prospect. Looking forward to seeing what he can do in that Mercedes car. Ferrari is Paul Racetech and Rimac. So Paul Racetech making his first full season appearance here in IRL alongside the Scotsman of Rimac, who was steadily improving last season. So it'll be good to see what Ryan can do in the Ferrari seat. Aston Martin Red Bull Racing, well, that goes to J. Cole, of course, the brilliant commentator from the PC League, which you can catch on Wednesday evenings as well from 8 p.m. So make sure you tune in for all sorts of all three platforms we offer here at Invictus. J. Cole covering the PC League, but he will be in the Red Bull alongside Rudy making his first appearance in F1. Another first appearance goes to DXT Monster Blue, the champion from F2 last season. Meant to be in the McLaren seat alongside Tenerife-based Sam Pito. Unfortunately, Sam unable to join us this evening. However, he will be replaced by the reserve of Stinson. And Stinson, who in practice has looked mighty fast indeed, and is definitely given a little bit of a shock to Harry, who thought he might have this one easy. So watch out for that McLaren later in this one. Of course, as we were just talking about, the Renault of Harry BR25 last 2 seasons runner-up to CRG Gamer 62, and his teammate Scott Bugner, who's taken a few race wins over the last few seasons. So Scott, who we know has put a lot of practice in over the last months or so to get himself up to a decent level of pace. The AlphaTauri, well, that's TL44S and Beastas making his move up from F2. So that's well, I think that's my dark horse team, Sab. I think we'll talk about this a little bit later, but TL44S is definitely one to watch this season. Beastas, he can be very quick when he wants to. The Racing Point, that's Bando Biz, formerly known as RBiz, and Roy Boy making his move up from F2. Roy looking very fast in the pre-season as well. So watch out for the Racing Point, the Pink Panthers. The Alfa Romeo Racing All-In team is Charlie Harris coming back after a season out. He teams up with Foxy Red, who jumps from teaming with Scopefielder to teaming with Charlie. And Charlie, a little bit rusty. We'll see what he can do, but he's definitely always good fun out there on circuit. Foxy, always good to get in the mix there. Haas F1, well, that's going to be Andre and TTG Nathan. Nathan, who looked very, very strong in the pre-season test at Bahrain just a few weeks ago. They will be lining up in the house. And finally, the Williams team will be Dutchman Burmeister, and the Super Swede, there we go, tongue-tied already, is going to be Scopefielder. And Scope, of course, the most winningest driver in IRL so far. He will be teaming up with Burmeister in the Williams. So, cool. 10 teams, Sab. Who have you got your money on?
I mentioned them briefly earlier, but I like you. I really do fancy the AlphaTauri team of TL44S and Beastas. I think that is a good combination there. And going into this race, anybody's could be in for it here. It'd be fascinating to see how these guys start. What we're going to get in qualifying? Are we going to get? Wouldn't it be nice if we get a wet wet start to the evening, but it's grey and murky. Who knows about the weather, but at the moment it's not all sunshine and rainbows and everything else for the guys. So maybe one to keep an eye on the weather-wise. But yeah, we're back in the pit lane, aren't we, Gareth? It's good to be back.
It is. 19 drivers. Unfortunately, the last minute we lost Monster Blue. He'll be back next time out as we head over to Australia for the first time. It feels like forever. But we're back in Mexico City. And, well, cars are rolling out on circuit. And that's exactly what we want to see here. The 4.3 kilometre circuit, 2.67 miles. It's the second shortest in distance of the calendar behind Monaco. Longest straight, 1.3 kilometres down from the exit of Mansell Corner, the final corner down towards Turn 1. It's about an 800 metre long stretch on, well, full blast of throttle where you can hit all upwards of 208 miles an hour. Full throttle, 47% of the lap around here, very high indeed. ERS demands quite high, very hard to recover around here, so make sure you're using it sparingly. And we'll go on board with Beastas for now, the AlphaTauri, as he's in the middle of the pack as they all head out to get some timed laps in earlier on. And it looks as though we've got a bit of a cloudy qualifying session. I'm sure the clouds will break and we'll get a bit of sunshine later on, and I'm expecting a full sunny race. So fortunately for those that were hoping to keep hold of these C4, C3 and C2 tyres, I believe it is, they will be quite happy, I would imagine, with the dry conditions around here, because especially into the second sector with those S's, Sab, the rain can be pretty tricky, but even in the dry, they're going to have to watch out.
They really are, and like you say, that second sector in the wet can be a real handful. And I'm just going to keep an eye on Harry in the yellow and black Renault. I know it's a Ferrari for some reason. In the yellow and black Renault, going down the start, finish straight now, heading into turn 1. I'm going to keep an eye on him, see how he gets on his first flying lap of the evening.
And, Harry here, of course, two-time runner-up in F1 of the last 2 seasons. He is definitely the one to beat this time around, and well, he comes in with a lot of practice. We know he's been practicing a lot. Of course, joined the Leonis esports team over the break as well, and has been plying his trade in several different leagues and get himself on circuit. A lot of track time. His teammate as well, Scott, we were just discussing over the last few days. He's put over 600 laps of practice in for this event, as Harry gets it all out of shape almost on the exit of the final S section there, but just about manages to keep it in a straight line as we get into the absolutely stunning stadium section here. Of course, the refurbished baseball stadium in Mexico City, and what a better thing to do than plonk a racetrack right through the middle of it. And Harry's going to exit the final corner out of Mansell, leading on to the line, and he sets an initial lap of 13.619. That's a decent banker from the Renault.
Yeah, not too far away is Rudy in the Red Bull, 13.687, so not too far away from Harry there. So a good first lap for the Aston Martin Red Bull Racing driver, with Beastas pointed him out earlier. He's up into third with 13.7, so some good times there, whereas Scott, Harry's teammate, 13.8, only a couple of tenths out, so he'll be looking to try and improve later on. Sometimes coming in at the moment, and I'm sure the likes of TL4S and Andre and Marcus will be wanting to go that much better. They've just dipped into the 14s.
Yeah, Rudy up in second, Beastas third, Scott Bugner, as you say, in fourth. Roy Boy, good lap there from the Racing Point on his first lap here in IRL F1. He does a 13.889, puts himself provisionally in fifth, with TL44S a good lap in sixth, and Finn Marcus in seventh, Rymac going eighth, Andre ninth, Burmeister rounding out the top 10, with Atari and Stinson currently outside with slightly slower laps. You'd expect to see them go a little bit faster later on. Paul Racetech getting all out of shape there on the exit of turn 4, I believe that is there. So the Ferrari really on edge, and Paul Racetech is one of the drivers I think this season, Sab, we've got to keep our eyes on. He's definitely up there as one of the dark horses. I'm expecting, I've got my dark horses this season to be TL44S and Paul Racetech.
Yeah, it'd be fascinating to see. He's certainly pushing the limits, isn't he, right now? I flicked over to him just as that car was pretty much sideways, and he really shows he really is pushing that Ferrari to its limits. I can't imagine with that little sideways moment it'll make him too quick. He's got a bit of traffic ahead of him. Hopefully it doesn't put him off too much. It'd be interesting to see if he rounds off this lap or decides to just bail on it. There's a car just pulled out of the way there. He's got Stinson Stinson ahead. Stinson pulls into pit lane. Paul Racek now comes across the line to set his first time. Wow, that is impressive. A 13.636 with that moment as well. That is very impressive from Paul Racek.
Yeah, on exit of turn 3. So Paul Racek, if he can get that one locked in, Harry has definitely got a bat on his hand. So great lap there from the Ferrari. Exactly what he wanted to start the season with. And we've got Bando Biz in 15th position, yet to set a time. He's out there on a flyer in the Racing Point, and Bando Biz, who will be lining up alongside myself on a Thursday evening in a realistic performance league. In fact, drifts out the double apex hairpin there at turn 6, and now entering the S section, a very, very tricky section. Of course, the car's right on the limit of adhesion, and having to put themselves through a hell of a lot of G lateral movements left to right as he comes into the stadium section. Just got to keep it in between the two white lines on the left and the right of the tarmac. Little bit of a lock up into the first part of the stadium. Can it keep it clean, or can he keep it clean, I should say, as we go through the final part of the lap up to line? And it's a good time there. A 13.979 puts him alongside teammate Roy Boy in 6th and 7th position.
The current pole position man, Harry, he's coming back out for another lap now. He's on an out lap, but in the meantime, I'm going to keep an eye on the Alfa Romeo driver, Charlie Harris, 98. He's just coming down the start-finish straight now. The car just come out of the pits, hopefully won't bother him too much. But Charlie Harris back in IRL F1. Be interested to see how he gets on. This will be his first flying lap of the evening.
Absolutely, we'll stay on board for Charlie for this one. And of course, guys, if you are enjoying this, if you're joining us for this evening, make sure you drop into the comments, let us know where you're watching from, who you're supporting, what you're looking out for this season. Equally, help us out massively. Hit that like button. It really does help us out. We always, as we usually do, target 15 likes. It helps with that pesky YouTube algorithm. But if you are enjoying it, let us know. And of course, you can always subscribe to watch more. And if you ring the bell, you'll be notified every time we go live with a new video. And of course, plenty of racing from Invictus this season, with plenty of racing on the PS4, plus the PC and the Xbox, which will all be uploaded as the Xbox stream on Twitch, but they will be uploaded to YouTube. So you've got all 3 platforms to sink your teeth into as Charlie comes into the stadium section. What can the Alfa Romeo do, of course, as he makes his return after a season out? And just recuperating. It looks as though he might box it this time. Oh, no, he's going to stay with it. Got a whole heap of opposite lock there. But Charlie, great lap time there. Puts himself up into 5th. So the driver that was saying that he wasn't particularly looking forward to this one, straight to 5th position with his first lap.
That's not bad at all, is it? And there was a few lock-ups here and there. I think, similar to Paul Racek, I think if he can just clean it up a little bit, Charlie could find himself well in the top 3 here. So that's a really good banker lap from Charlie in the Alfa Romeo. So he'll be definitely pleased with that. He's gone ahead of a friend of his, Scott Bugner, he's just passed. So Scott Bugner coming out onto the track again now. So Charlie Harris, good lap there. Harry, meanwhile, is now starting his next flying lap. Harry will have seen, won't he, what Paul Racek managed to do, even with that slight mistake. So Harry, all pressure now to at least improve as Harry improved.
I'm going to undercut you and say that Harry just took 3/10 of his time there, and yeah, he does a 13 flat. But don't worry about that.
It changed last minute for me there for some reason. I had a bit of a problem there. Sorry about that.
That's all right, no worries. It's been a while, but out on the circuit, Harry does go faster. Stinson, good lap there from the McLaren, puts himself up into 2nd position. Beastas had improved as well, up to 3rd. Paul Racek out on an out lap as well, so the Ferrari in 4th position. He, of course, will have, well, that's a bit of a daunting task to take 6/10 off your time. Harry with a very strong 3/10 improvement on that last lap. Now, what can TL4 for S2 as he comes into the stadium section in the second AlphaTauri? Of course, teammate Beastas currently on the 2nd row of the grid provisionally as they come around the final corner. It's all about getting the power down as early as possible without losing too much time, and TL4S just outside of the top 10 in 11th position. And of course, if you are going to finish outside the top 10, you get free tyre choice, so 11th position is the best place to be.
Just riding on board now with Scott Bugner. Bando Biz, that would have been very off-putting for Scott Bugner. Bando Biz did the right thing to get out of the way, but he came back onto the track just in the eye line of Scott, and hopefully for his sake it didn't put him off too much. That bright pink Racing Point there, just on the left-hand side. It doesn't look like it put him off too much. He does have a Ferrari ahead of him now, Scott, as he enters into the twisty and difficult middle sector. So the Renault driver down in 10th place at the moment. We've seen what his teammate has done, firmly putting himself at the top there as the Ferrari steps to one side. He now is coming down into that final stadium section. Can Scott Bugner, he is up on his previous time. He's still got another Ferrari this time of Rimac ahead of him. Hopefully Rimac not be too much in the way. Here is Kane Erling Rimac does pull out the way, and Rimac into the pits. What can Scott Bugner do now? Scott Bugner comes across the line, and it's a Renault 1 and 2. That is mighty stuff there from Scott. 1:13.3, and I'm sure the Renault team and the Renault boys and all the Renault fans will be delighted to see that.
Yeah, that's exactly what they would have been after. And currently we've got a Renault 1-2, as you say, and well, Harry with that 4/10 gap between himself and Scott at the moment. So still a big gap for the likes of Scott, Stinson, Beastass, Racetech, or Rudy even to improve on. And of course, we've still got 6 minutes and 50 seconds left to go in this one, as Rudy goes a little bit slower out of Sector 1, just a 10th down, so we'll see if he sticks with this one. It always put too much power down, just about manages to miss the concrete barrier there, and that's lucky for the Dutch driver. It looks as though he'll be able to stay in this session, but just a bit too much throttle on the exit of turn 5, and the Red Bull goes around, puts a yellow flag up in Sector 2, so that might hamper the Williams of, I believe that's Schofield that's coming around. It is Scope, so we'll stay on board with Scope. Of course, a multi-time winner here on a Monday evening. In fact, he's won here on a Monday night previous, back at Season 7, so he is no stranger to the top of the rostrum. And Scope, of course, picked up the PC League F1 Championship last season, Sab. So, yeah, no slouch. He's decided, well, I've already picked up 3 championships on the PS4, I want one on the PC. Now he's back to have another go at 2 of them this time around.
You wouldn't put it past him either, would you, Schofield? He is mighty, and here he comes round the final corner. What can Schofield do? Say his first time lap of the evening. It puts him into 12th place, just outside that top 10. And I think, talking to Schofield, we haven't spoken about him much so far this evening. I think he was starting, especially in F1, he was really starting to show that form again, wasn't he? He looked a bit off the previous season, but he really started to show that form again. And hopefully, for Schofield, we get to see him fighting at the very front like he did in the PC League, in this league this evening. And we really get to see Schofield push the likes of Harry and Scott Bugner and anybody else at the front this season.
Yeah, and it'll be good to see. As we said, we've got so many drivers in the grid or on the grid this time around that have got the potential to do something special. And well, it's definitely going to be one of the most open, as Harry's really wringing the neck out of that Renault as he goes into the S's, just about holding on to it. And we'll see if he's improving. He's up once again by 1/10.5, so he's looking to be the first one to dip into the 12s. And well, is all this practice off season going to be pretty much a lifeline for him to get pole position, because it looks as though no one else can live with him? Harry's going to come across the final round and bails out of it. So the final stages of this one, he decides that he couldn't improve. Bando Biz, out of nowhere, has put it up in second. Great lap there from Bando.
Yeah, wow, I didn't even notice that either. I was so focused on Harry's lap, I thought we was going to get into the 12s. That is a superb lap for the Racing Point, and Bando Biz will be delighted to split those Renaults. And we have a bit of a lull now, don't we, especially within the top 10, as we see J. Cole. That is a superb lap from J. Cole as well in the Red Bull, jumping up into 4th place there with a 13.531, just ahead of Stinson in the McLaren in 5th place. So that's a superb lap as well from J. Cole. And the majority of guys now, with less than 4 minutes left on the clock, in the pit lane, getting their cars ready to go again. But we do still have a few cars on track. We've got likes of Rimac and TGG Nathan, who I'm used to seeing TGG Nathan in the McLaren. He's in the Haas this season. TGG Nathan in 12th place. He had invalidated that run, so I don't know if he'll be going again and trying it on this run. But TGG Nathan out on track at the moment in the Haas. And
while we do have this low, as you say, as Burmeister comes around to set his first lap, he goes 15th with a 13.908, as does the Dutchman. I asked you earlier today to come up with some predictions for the season. So what have you got?
Well, looking at this grid, it looks very fast, and because we've not got the likes of Gamer in this season, who was superbly consistent, you could bank your house on Gamer. I'm going to go with. I've got a feeling we're going to have at least 5 different race winners this season. I think we could have even maybe 6 different race winners. I think we're going to have a multitude of race winners this season, just because of the strength is not just in one. It doesn't seem to be in one area now in the F1 League. There's a strength throughout the whole of this roster at the moment. As you can just look through that qualifying at the moment. For example, 4th down to 10th, there's 0.2 of a second splitting those guys. So yeah, that is my prediction. My big prediction is I reckon we'll see a multitude of winners this season. I think we're in for a treat this year. We're not going to get a one-person dominating type of season.
I think we obviously are one and alike, because I've got the same sort. I've got the all-time high in F1 for different podium finishes. So yeah, right. I feel exactly the same. I think that this season we're going to have a really strong grid of drivers all competing for those top 3 positions. I've also, like I said earlier, I've got TL44S to be my breakout star of the season, and I've also I put a small bet on Harry winning the title, and I think he can do it early. I think I'm going round 9 to wrap up this title. With so many people battling over these positions and these points, Harry just needs to be consistent. I reckon he can sew it up very early now, and some people say that's well, caressing the ego of Mr. Banks, but well, maybe the pressure's on a little bit for the Renault.
Well, that is a bold prediction, and to be honest, I'd probably back you as well. Harry has shown so far this evening that he's certainly looking fast. All that practice off season so far has paid off, but it'd be interesting to see, for me, if he gets mixed up in this big gaggle of cars behind. Can he battle his way through and take these guys on? We've seen him a few times last season. One of his weak links, shall I say, last season was when he got stuck in traffic, or when he got caught further down the roster. He found it often difficult to get through the pack and found himself stuck at the lower end of the point. So for me, if you can get over that when he's having a tough race and really push on, that'll show whether, for me, he can really go for the championship this season. But with this, as we were just saying, this field being as strong as it is, I can imagine it's going to be even harder for Harry to battle through a really tough-looking lineup like this.
It is. But it's going to be fascinating. I cannot wait for this season. It's going to be. It took a while to get here, and we were all waiting for it. There was several drivers texting me saying they were chomping at the bit for this season. So yeah, cannot wait to see what happens as Roy Boy coming in to the 3rd sector, going up by just under 1/10.5, but invalidates on the entry to the stadium section. He's just going to miss out on setting a fastest time. That's it. Time has expired on the session. So this is what we'll get. We'll see. With everyone on a flyer, no one else will be setting any faster times if they've already got, of course, the checker flag next to their name. So that's no improvement for Paul Racetech, who looked strong early on but was not able to improve. Down in 9th position for him. Roy Boy down in 12th. Then we've got Burmeister Andre down in 16th, and Hatari, not a great start from the Mercedes, down in 18th position. But out on circuit, we're going to have Harry, as he comes up to the line and does a 12.942 into the 12s. Goes the Renault. Great lap time there from Harry BR25. Now, who else have we got on a flyer? We've got Stinson going up by just under 3.5 of a second. Now, what can the McLaren do? Currently lining up on the 3rd row of the grid in 6th place. Can he get himself up alongside Harry? He's got to push hard. He's going to come across the line. Does he get? He gets 2nd position. Great lap there from Stinson. He just about gets a 10th ahead of J. Cole. Apart from that, we've got Charlie Harris on circuit. Is Charlie improving? No, he's down the order as well, not improving. So it looks as though we're going to have Harry on pole alongside the McLaren of Stinson. J. Cole, brilliant lap time there from the Red Bull in 3rd, with Bando Bids, the surprise of the session, in 4th. Scott Bugner will be very disappointed, 5th position for the Renault. Charlie Harris lining up alongside him. Charlie, who's not really put too much practice into this one, so I'm sure Charlie will be as shocked as most of us.
That will be a surprise, and wow, it is close, isn't it, at the top there? But what a lap that was from Harry. Big congratulations to him. That's exactly what he wanted to do to start this season off. He needs to get pole. Next job is to get away cleanly, get down to turn 1 and round this first lap into lead, and then he can get about his business about winning this race. But yeah, that's Stinson and J. Cole. They put in superb laps, and Harry, he can't be too pleased yet that he's got this wrapped up or anything yet, because it looks like Stinson and J. Cole might give him a good run for his money, especially down this really long straight down to the first corner. Harry will certainly be giving those guys a good tow into the first corner. So yeah, fascinating how this race is going to start.
Yeah, and very much like Russia, starting on pole position isn't always the most ideal place to be here, because you give everyone a mega tow down to turn 1. So watch out for J. Cole and Bando as they start on the second row of the grid. But it is Harry BR25 starting off the season in the way that he wanted, with a 1:12.942, the only driver to dip inside the 12 seconds there. Stinson in second on his debut in F1, with J. Cole in third, Bando Biz in fourth, with Scott Bugner lining alongside Charlie Harris, two former Constructors champions in the Mercedes team a few seasons ago, and rumours that they might be teaming up next season. Beastas in 7th, with Finn Marcus in 8th, Paul Raystack and Rudy in 9th and 10th, with Rymac and Royboy down in 11th and 12th. Then we've got Nathan Scopefielder, Burmeister, Andre, TL4S and Hatari, and Foxy Red 2000. A dismal session there from the Alfa Romeo driver, just not able to switch it on. 1.3 seconds off the pace. He will not be happy at all. But well, setting us up for a brilliant first race of the season here in Invictus Racing League. And if you're enjoying the session already, make sure you dip into the comments. Let us know who you're watching, who you're supporting, who you want to see do well over this season. Equally, subscribe to the channel if you're not already. And of course, you can do that by pressing the button just down below. And of course, like the video. Always does help us out here. And you can go to the socials at Invictus RL on Twitter for the main channel. Of course, we now also have the platform-specific channels which you can find on the Twitter page, and Invictus Racing League on Instagram and on Facebook. We're all over the socials, and head over to our brand new spanking lovely looking website, invictusracingleague.com, where you can get yourself signed up and get yourself on the grid. Plenty of spaces left in some of the leagues, and well, it's shaping up to be a fantastic season. Make sure you are a part of it as we get ready to send them down to T1 for the first time here on a Monday evening, with myself, Gareth Hall, and Alan Sabatino covering this one all season long, and really looking forward to it. And Sab, well, quick prediction before we get this one started. Harry, he was quick in qualifying. Can he hold on to it in this race?
That is a good question, and I have to say, it's like I was just saying, it's crucial down to that first corner whether he can hold on to this. If he can hold on to this into this first corner and pull away and get that 1 second gap over the guys behind him to break that DRS, then he has a real chance then to run away with this race. But looking at the likes of Stinson and J. Cole and Bando Biz, who knows? I think if those guys behind want to really put pressure on Harry to win this race, I think they need to either try and get the jump on him early on at the first corner, or stick with him when it comes to the DRS range. But I think Harry, my prediction, I think Harry might just have the edge based on what looks like in qualifying. Harry might just have the edge here tonight and might just run away with this race.
Yeah, great to see the predictions coming into the comments here. Let us know, guys, who you think will take this one. Great to hear from you all this evening, and I think we've got the Burmeister fan club out there watching as well. And I saw that F2 driver Nightshades was wanting to get himself on the stream this evening, hoping that he'd get a shout out. And Nightshades definitely a potential for that F2 title. Watch out for that. And of course, F2 coming up tomorrow evening, and well, that's always an absolutely brilliant series, so make sure you tune in tomorrow night 8 p.m. here on YouTube for that one. Xbox, of course, will start off their season tomorrow night over on twitch.tv. That will begin with the Xbox F1 League as well. Wednesday evening, we've got the PC F1 League with J. Cole commentating on that one. Scopefielder back to defend his title. And of course, you've got the F3 and F4 leagues on the PS4. So 4 equal performance F1 leagues here on the PS4. And then on Thursday, Realistic Performance is back. Malc and Tim will be your commentators once again for the most fun and exciting league we have here in Invictus. The rules are slightly different, and the action is no less frenetic. And we'll be on circuit 8 p.m. on Thursday evening, so make sure you tune in for that one. And I'm sure Malc has got a few tricks up his sleeve for everyone watching this season, so cannot wait for that one. And it will be the league that you and I will be participating in this season. So if you'd like to watch us, not only commentating but driving, you can do that by going, of course, and checking out the streams. But of course, you can find out more. InvictusRacingLeague.com is your place to go to find out more as they head down towards turn 1 on the formation lap. Harry leading this pack away, Sab. Stinson second position, J. Cole, Bando. You've got to think second, third and fourth are going to be eyeing up a good run into T1 with that toe.
You have, and you've got to also think that Scott Bugner, if he's going to help his teammate this evening, he's got to get past those ahead of him quite quickly, because those guys will be wanted to, like sharks smelling blood in water, they'll be wanted to try and attack that Renault, and Scott surely at minimum has got to try and help his teammate defend from behind here. But just looking back outside the top 10, nobody fancying that hard tyre whatsoever around here, all going for either the medium or the soft tyre. Just 3 guys outside of the top 10 on the soft tyre, and that'll be Roy Boy, Burmeister and Foxy Red at the back, with the rest opting for the medium tyre, so expect them to go longer into the race, like Rimac in 11th, for example. He's on the medium tyre, so he could prove to be a bit of a thorn in a few of the soft-running guys' side when it comes to the pit stop phase.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with this one. Of course, the softs will go off after about 6 laps. So expect the pit window to open around about lap 7 if we see someone coming in very early. It says there lap 9 for we're expecting a majority of a 2-stop for everyone. Someone may try and risk it on a 1-stop, but usually we'll see everyone go on to the 2-stop here. We expect to see the soft runners in from anywhere from lap 7 to lap 10. And, well, let's see. Renault, we've got Harry in first, Scott in 5th. Well, do they want to double stack in the pit lane? Who's going to get the run off the line? Will it be Stinson in second position? J. Cole and Bando will be eyeing up the 2 in front and thinking they can sit in the toe down to turn 1. Will we someone come back or come flying from the back? We've got Foxy Red, who's dealing with a bit of an upshift problem at the moment, so that's the reason why he's down in 19th position. But we're getting ready to kick off the season here for the IRL F1 League on the PS4. We're sending it off for round 1 here in Mexico as we get ready to hear the lights. 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights as we get ready to kick off this season down towards turn 1. It's a good start from the McLaren in second position. He's already alongside Harry as they thunder down under the bridge down towards turn 1. It's a great start there from Stinson. He's got the inside line. Can Harry use a bit of battery to hold on to the position? You can see the Renault's going to try and sweep around the outside and does hold on to the lead. There's a little bit of contact between the Red Bull, it seems, and the second Renault of Scott and J. Cole, but Scott already up from 5th into 3rd. We've got a yellow flag, and that's for Bando Biz, the man that started in 3rd position, already down in and having a spin, falling to the back of this one, down in 19th. Desperately bad start there from Bando. Really unfortunately, he was looking very promising as we've got an AlphaTauri of BSAS all out of shape, and he's been dropped there underneath Charlie Harris. So Charlie getting back up into 5th position, but you've got to think, good start for Harry, brilliant start for Scott.
Yeah, I was just keeping an eye on Scott. The wily fox Scott, he took advantage of a few mistakes here and a nice toe, and he got the jump on J. Cole. And next up the road is Stinson. Stinson, as you was calling, almost got the rundown to turn 1 on Harry, but Harry probably, like you say, saved a bit of battery, used it to keep that lead, and now Stinson keeping the pressure on Harry, just about half a second off the Renault. And what Scott's got to do now, Scott's got to get after that McLaren now and really put the pressure on the Papaya car. But I'm sure the likes of J. Cole, who's also not too far away, will be trying his hardest to keep onto the tabs of that Renault. We do have a yellow flag, and it's Finn Marcus. Unfortunately, he has had a spin somewhere. I don't know if he's picked up any damage, but he's slowly crawling into the pits, and this has been a poor start for Finn as he's having a front wing change and putting on a set of medium tyres, so right to the back over to Marcus now.
And Roy Boy, he's looking at the back end there of the second Red Bull of Rudy 1973. So Rudy under pressure from another one of the Dutchmen in the F1 League. There seems to be an influx of them this season. It's great to see the Dutchies heading over to F1. And but Roy Boy putting the pressure on. Just want to say a special message there to TGG Nathan, making up 6 positions off the start. Brilliant start there from the Hash driver, making his way up from well outside the top 10 into 7th.
Yeah, he's a tidy driver, TG Nathan. We've seen him a few times, haven't we? Now had some of these great races. He just needs to get that consistency, and I think we would see him scoring a lot more points. Another driver who's made up 6 places is Foxy Red. He's up from the back into 13th place, really putting the pressure on TG Nathan's teammate Andre in the other Haas, and Foxy Red all over the back of the Haas now, down the straight. Foxy Red on those soft tyres cruises past Andre, so Foxy Red now up 7 places into 12th. The next car up ahead will be the Ferrari of Rimac.
And Rimac, no slouch to get past at all. The Scotsman has been putting some laps in. It's Paul Racetech, the first one to pick up 3 seconds this evening. He's down in 10th position. Not a great start there for the Ferrari. Already on lap 3. And Sab, we've seen this in practice, and in some of the practice sessions these guys have been running. Penalties are a real issue, keeping it between the 2 white lines on either side of the circuit. And well, they've removed the disqualification rule after 15 seconds. But you've got to think that we might see a couple of moves at the end of this one, with people maybe being a little bit more careful when it comes to penalties.
Yeah, you don't want your race being decided based on how many penalties you've got, so I wouldn't be surprised if people take it a bit more easy. I'm keeping an eye on Foxy Red, and he is absolutely flying on these soft tyres. He is caught up to back as Rimac has gone deep there, and can Foxy Red in the stadium section has been very brave. If Foxy Red can get a move on Rimac in the stadium section, he doesn't, but Foxy Red is absolutely flying on these soft tyres, and Rimac under a lot of pressure now. He's fallen off the back of the fight between Roy Boy and Paul Racek. So Foxy Red here now pulls to one side down the start finish straight, and Foxy Red has gone up into 11th place. Nothing Rimac can do about it, and Foxy Red is absolutely flying. Next up is Roy Boy, and Roy Boy really putting the pressure on the other Ferrari driver, Paul Racek, with, oh, is that TG Nathan? Has TG Nathan run a bit wide there? He has. And that has allowed Paul Racek to now fly past, and Paul Racek is going to get the move done here. Yes, he does. And Paul Racek now up into 8th place. It's a great battle for the minor points playing positions.
Yep, this is the drivers that started on the soft tyres, needing to get past these medium runners, the likes of TTG Nathan. And as you say, with Foxy Red needing to carve his way through those that started on the mediums to make use of them. Of course, they won't last as long as these yellow-walled medium tyres will, as you can see Roy Boy there in the racing point, very close, and Nathan almost pushing him around the Essex section. He's going to try and go around the outside into the stadium. Lovely move there from Roy Boy up into 9th position as Foxy goes a little bit deep as they enter the stadium section, but Roy making his way up into 9th position there. We've got Stinson still sitting within DRS of Harry, leading this one. They've dropped Scott by 2 seconds, which is surprising. We've just seen Scott in a practice session before this stay with Harry, so Scott will not be happy with his pace early on in this one. 2.3 seconds and losing time every single corner, it seems.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Scott, Jay Cole is starting to really put the pressure on the Renault driver. Just half a second behind. He's keeping within DRS, and Jay Cole is also bringing along Charlie Harris as well. So Scott, he's got some work to do at the minute. He kind of needs to find that form, doesn't he? What he has been showing. Unfortunately, he's losing time hand over fist at the moment. It was about 2.1 seconds. It's already up to 2.6 seconds. So at the moment, Scott really doesn't have any answer for the front 2 guys. The Stinson is flooring in slightly Harry at the front, so Harry will not be best pleased that McLaren hasn't fallen away yet. And Harry would be hoping, wouldn't he, that he would have had a quiet race, but this McLaren certainly is not going to give him that.
You can tell Charlie being a little bit cautious there, a little bit of a lift through the S's, which I think is a little bit of a smart thing to do at this stage in the race. Just don't put yourself on the edge too much. You don't want to make a mistake early, be finding yourself in the wall and giving everyone the benefit of a free pit stop, because of course the pit window, as I say that, as Charlie kicks the back end out as they go onto the main straight. But we got Stinson 7/10 of a second behind Harry. Equally, J. Cole behind Scott, now closing in. Of course, DRS and battery down this main straight will be like watching early 2000s Fast and the Furious movies with a bit of nitrous oxide underneath these cars. It feels like you've got a rocket booster under your seat when you open up DRS and use some of this ERS battery. Behind, we've got Rimac still battling with TTG Nathan as the 2 on the medium compound of tyres that started outside the top 10, battling over position. It's been Burmeister down. He was the second one to pick up a penalty, and of course it looks as though he's made an early stop as well. So the Williams, not a great start for the Dutchman, as we see the back end of Rimac as he sweeps around and gets past Nathan. He's now the lead of this train that goes all the way down to Hatari in 17th position. So we're really starting to see a couple of groups are forming, Sab.
We are indeed, and this is one thing I absolutely love about the F1 League. As you see TG Nathan pick up 3 seconds worth of time. I love these battles all the way through the field. I love watching some of these guys really giving it their all, even for the likes of Knights and Ted. I'm keeping an eye on the J. Cole and Scott Bugner fight at the minute though, and it looks to me as if Scott Bugner seems to have the legs when it comes down there's long straights, but J. Cole, especially through that middle sector, J. Cole certainly does have the grit compared to Scott, and J. Cole is much closer this time than he was previously, but I don't think he's going to be able to get anything done here. It's about 0.3 of a second into the first corner, but no, Scott Bugner, big lock up there from Scott Bugner. J. Cole now, this is probably as close as J. Cole has been so far to Scott Bugner since the start of the race. And can J. Cole do anything down in the next DRS straight? Unfortunately, no, and J. Cole will have to look at the rear wing of that Renault once again. We've got a yellow flag in sector 1.
It looks like it might be Hatari that was the back end of that trail that has lost it on the exit of turn 3, I believe it is. But so Hatari's not lost too much time. He's dropped back about 4 seconds behind Bando. Of course, Bando Bez, who started the race in 4th position, a great qualifying session for the Racing Point. He will be looking at clawing back some time. The first one of the stoppers is Beastas. He made a stop last time around as TL44S picks up a penalty. And Stinson, big penalty there for the man in 2nd position. And Harry will be rubbing his hands in delight there as he sees Stinson, the first one to pick up 3 seconds this evening in the top 6 runners. And but yeah, Beastas was the first one to make a stop on the end of lap 6, starting lap 7. Everyone else staying out, it seems. So very early stop for the AlphaTauri driver. He's trying to go for a big undercut. We'll have to see if it works, because at the moment he's going to get himself caught just behind. Well, he's going to start closing in on Hatari, and once he closes in on Hatari, he's got that whole gaggle of cars ahead of him.
Paul Racetech has lost it on the final corner. I didn't quite see how he lost it, but he was facing the wrong way. He managed to spin the car around. He's had some front wing damage, just got it into the pit lane, so Paul Racetech has retired it, but it looks like he's retired from the session, unfortunately for Paul Racetech. It started off promising, didn't it, in qualifying, but unfortunately it's just ended very abruptly this evening.
He has indeed, unfortunately for Paul Racetech. He ends the evening, not the season. We've only just begun. It's round 1 of the IRL F1 League on the PS4, but he ends it, unfortunately, in an unideal way. But if you're enjoying it, make sure you press that like button. Really does help us out. We can see you're all enjoying it. Hopefully, we've got plenty of you watching that just planning your strategies for this week if you're racing on all 3 platforms. And yeah, just drop into the comments. Let us know who you're watching, who you're supporting. Great to hear from you guys. Hopefully, you're all enjoying a good evening, and we can bring you some entertainment in a pretty rough time around the world right now. And well, the F1 boys will be doing their job to go out and entertain. I say boys, guys, let's be that was incorrect way of me saying that, but out on track we've still got this gaggle of cars all the way down from Rimac, and he's building a little bit of a gap between himself and Nathan, and into the box comes Charlie Harris. So Charlie in to make a stop. Now, is this an attempt, Sab, to get ahead of Scott Bugner and J. Cole and maybe go a little bit longer on this next stint?
It could well be, but I'm just keeping an eye on Stinson, and Stinson has been the closest he has been all race so far. Harry has locked up at least 3 times into corners on this lap alone, and I'm wondering whether the tyres have had enough. They've said we don't want to go anymore on that Renault, because Harry looks to me like he's struggling a little bit on those tyres, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him box in now for a set of new tyres. But Stinson really putting the pressure on after making that slight mistake to pick up his penalty. He's not let that affect him, has he? And he's really started to put the pressure on the race leaders. Bando Biz picks up 3-second time penalty. Is Harry peeling in? Yes, he is. I'm not surprised about that with lock up of tyres. So Stinson now takes the race lead.
As Stinson staying out. So interesting strategy from the McLaren head. Decided not to follow in his rival for the race. And Scott Buckner equally is going to have to stay out as teammate to Harry. Now, Well, let's just quickly go on board with Harry, because he's going to come out right at the back of this whole field of cars, and of course some of them are on the medium rubber, so this might not work out for Harry in the way that he hopes. In fact, he's got a little bit of a gap between himself and in that field of cars ahead of him. So luckily for Harry, it looks as though he's going to be able to put a couple of laps in before he starts to close up on the drivers ahead. But we'll see. Stinson, did he need to come in and cover off Harry getting an undercut? Will we see if he stays out and perhaps even decides to go for a different strategy? You've got to think that he'll be in this time around, as he's the first one that's going to be exiting the S's on lap 10 of 36. Plenty more racing here on a Monday evening with myself, Gareth Paul, and Alan Sabatino, otherwise known as Sab, covering this one. And you can find us on social media at GT2_driving for myself, at Alan Sabatino for Sab, to find out plenty more stuff about Invictus and talking all things motorsport, as we've now got Stinson coming into the box as he does make his way into the pit lane. And will we see Scott? We do see Scott following him in, well, I'd imagine we'll see all the soft runners that hadn't already made a box stop. They will be making their way in. Yeah, the pit lane is looking as though it's going to start to get very busy, Sab.
Oh yes, it is indeed. I'm just riding on board with Harry now to see where he's going to peel out. He's going to comfortably peel out ahead of Stinson, so the undercut from Harry has worked beautifully, really, and it's actually pulled out a bigger gap than what he had before he went into the pit lane. And luckily for Stinson, though, he came out ahead of Beastas. Beastas is behind on the medium tyres. Stinson crucially got out ahead. He's behind Harry, but look at the time he's lost to Harry because he stayed out a lap longer. He's down 1.7 seconds to Harry. Harry now, if he can clear this gaggle of cars, you ride on board with Harry, you can see a whole heap of cars ahead of him. He's got to be able to clear them so he doesn't allow Stinson to close that gap up quickly. If Harry can get through them quite sharply here, he's got a great opportunity to really run away from Stinson.
Yeah, and Beastas, just to make note of the fact that he's managed to jump a lovely amount of positions there with that early stop. Of course, he was the first one to make a stop on lap 7. He's jumped ahead of J. Cole, Charlie and Scott, and he's put himself right on the back of Stinson as they go into the stadium section. Charlie Harris is currently fighting with the Mercedes of Hatari. But yeah, nice strategic call there for Beastas to get himself involved in this fight for the lead. Of course, his tyres will go off sooner than the others, but, well, he's used a bit of a strategic wizardry to get himself involved in a race fight that he possibly wasn't in beforehand.
Yeah, most definitely, and he doesn't have any time penalties at the moment. So if he, it's Harry! Oh my, Harry almost ran into the back of the Haas. He misjudged, I think, what TL4 was doing. Not the Haas, sorry, the Alpha Tauri, I believe it is, and TL4 just. He braked a bit too early compared to Harry, and Harry almost wiped out the Alpha Tauri. He had to go onto the grass to avoid any action whatsoever, and that was nearly a front wing damage. That was nearly a race ruiner there. Harry is all over the back of that TL4. He's got to remain calm. He's got to play sensible here. Clearly, TL4 and the likes of TT Nathan, they've been on these tyres since the beginning of the race. Their tyres will be worn now, and Harry, on those fresh mediums, he's got to be patient here. He gets himself caught out, picks up a penalty. This is just going to play into the hands of the guys behind. He's into the stadium section now. He's going to make a dive down the inside. This is very brave, and he gets the move done on TL4. I think TL4 probably did him a favour a little bit there. He didn't really challenge, and Harry now up into 4th place there, but wow, that was very close from Harry, as Stinson now is also eyeing up a move on TL4 in the space of a couple of corners. TL4 has lost 2 places.
Yep, a bit of a desperation move, but nicely done for Harry. However, unable to close in on the 2 Haas ahead of Nathan and Andre. Of course, this is what we were saying, is that Harry came out behind this bunch of cars that were all starting on the medium rubber, so they'll go longer, so he's going to have to make his way through. So it's really helped Stinson close back in, and he's going to try and get 1 Haas. We'll even try and go for 2 as he goes down the inside. Oh, a lovely double move there from Harry. Very nicely done indeed from the Renault. And behind, Stinson's going to try and go around the outside of both Hasses into the hairpin. Oh, he just about manages to get one of them. He's now split in the middle of 2. And, well, Last time around, it was Harry that was getting the effects of all this dirty air through the sweeping corners of the S's. And this time it's going to be Stinson that's going to have to deal with it. He's going to get a run on the Haas down into the stadium section. However, Andre, not giving up the position easily, covered off the inside line. Stinson has to go around the outside, gets the position back up into a net second position. Harry now closing in on Rimac. Harry, however, as you can see, along with Beast Haas, the only one within the net top 3 positions without a penalty.
Yeah, that is probably going to be crucial, but Beastas at the moment still hasn't cleared the Hasses. Yes, as I speak, Beastas is overtaking one of the Hasses in TCG Nathan down the start-finish straight, and he's now up into 4th place. But it just shows you, doesn't it, what that traffic has done for Harry. He came out of the pits 1.8 seconds ahead of Stinson. It's now back down to 0.4 of a second, so this fight is back on again. But Stinson knows he's going to have to either rely on Harry to get another penalty or several penalties, or he's going to have to get the move done and run out into the distance. But at the moment, Harry just plays this sensibly here. He'll keep that McLaren behind and take this victory. But as we see, Bando Biz pick up another 3-second time penalty. So this fight for first place is still warming up nicely. I'm sure it's going to get even hotter towards the end of this race.
Yeah, as one person that has really lost out in this pit stop shuffle is Scott Buckner, down in 9th position now. He's dropped behind Charlie, and well, he just managed to get past Hatari, but now 8 seconds off the lead. It was only around 3 when they came in for the pit stops, as Rimac picks up a time penalty. He's recently made a stop. Scopefielder, the only one on circuit on the soft rubber currently, as Nathan picks up 3 seconds. So yeah, I think, Sab, we're going to start to see some penalties rolling in over the next few laps. So we're going to have to keep tabs on who's picking them up where and when, because this might play a pretty major effect at the end of this race.
Yeah, most definitely. And one thing which is really handy now, thanks to the F1 game, is on this spectator mode. It actually can tell you on the feed how many seconds worth of penalties each of the guys have got. So Andre in 4th place, I mean, he's already racked up 9 seconds worth of penalties. So that's not going to do the world of good whatsoever. Charlie Harris up ahead of TG Nathan into 6th place now, really started to put the pressure on the Red Bull driver. And as you say, Charlie not had much practice, not really got into this like what Harry has, but he's having a decent race so far, really putting pressure on J. Cole, and he could be in a good place towards the end of this race for scoring some solid points. J. Cole there trying to catch up with Andre in 4th place, but at the moment not able to get the job done.
No, but watch out, he's going to continue fighting, continue pushing. I'd expect to see some more moves. We're only, well, not even halfway through this one, lap 15 of 36. You can see here we've got the Red Bull of J. Cole now trying to get past Andre. Of course, the 2 Haas, as you can see on screen, the only 2 that have not made a stop. Will we see one of them diving into the pit lane? We do. In the box comes comes Andre, sorry, as the leading Haas. He gets the option of diving into the pit lane and leaving Nathan out for another lap. But Charlie now with a run on J. Cole, but J. Cole with that benefit of DRS having been behind the Haas going into turn 1. So Charlie a little bit frustrated there. J. Cole gets a bit of free DRS, but he's now going to have to sit behind the Red Bull. But a very impressive return to the IRL F1 for Charlie Harris so far.
It really is. 0.3 of a second now behind J. Cole. Really starting to put the pressure. I think what's helped J. Cole is the fact that he had the DRS from the Haas on this lap, so it was enabling him to keep hold of that position. But J. Cole is slowly starting to catch up with Bisas, who Bisas may have struggled through all that gaggle of traffic because he's really lost out to like Stinson. He was quite close behind Stinson, but Stinson's got on with it, and Bisas looking like now he's net in 3rd and comfortable, but not going to be comfortable for much longer because J. Cole now 1.2 seconds with Charlie Harris not too far away. Scott Bugner as well, really, like you say, he's really suffered in this. He's only just got past TG Nathan, 1.8 seconds behind TG Nathan.
Yeah, and well, fascinating race so far. Really enjoyed the return of IRL F1 on a Monday evening, 8 p.m. for the next, 3 months or so. We'll be on air every Monday night, as Stinson now within 0.3 of a second of Harry. Harry's in fact making his 50th appearance in IRL this evening, so congratulations, hitting that half-century mark, and he's done that with picking up the most amount of points of all time in the IRL F1 League so far, and most amount of podiums as well. So yeah, Harry, finds a good home in Invictus in this Monday Night League, and I'm sure he'll be delighted with his race so far. He's got to hold off Stinson, though, who's looking quite racy in this second stint. And, well, in 36 races, that was only Harry's second pole position, which is mind-blowing to think that he's finished in second position in the championship for the last 2 seasons.
I did not know that stat. Wow, that is quite mind-blowing indeed. And just going back, I'm going to focus firmly on the fight for 10th place. Fox Red is having a great race starting from the back, up 9 places in 10th place, but he's not going to have it comfortable. Bando Biz is trying to fight his way back into this race after the start he had. He's in 11th place, putting the pressure on the Alfa Romeo, but he's also dragging along the Ferrari of Rimac in 12th place. They're all within a second of each other. Fox Red could be under a bit of pressure here going into the next DRS phase as they enter into the stadium section. Fox Red will not have any DRS to help him defend, so he needs a good, clean run out of the final corner now. Use a bit of battery and try and pull away from the likes of Bando Biz and Rimac and try and help defend this 10th place. But at the moment, Fox Red is having a good race. He's in the points in 10th.
And here's a move for the lead. Stinson down the inside as they go into the second sector, down at turn 4. And he's trying to go around the outside line. Harry's going to have to show him the door, tries to show him offline. In fact, pushes him across the white line. Stinson picking up a second penalty. Harry doing the same. Of course, he had the inside line, but maybe not leaving the car's width he should have done. And Stinson will not be happy at all. Picks up another 3-second time penalty. That means 6 seconds for the McLaren. And Harry holds on to that one, well, by the skin of his teeth. That was really, really hard fighting between the pair of them. Stinson get a really good run down into turn 1. Harry was having to defend pretty much for the entirety of the first 2 sectors of that lap. So Stinson will, I'm sure, go again. Both these drivers have used a lot of battery so far. You can see around about 20% left for Stinson. Harry even lower than that. We know that Harry is probably his major weakness is overuse of battery. And well, Stinson, he's been put offline twice in 1 lap by Harry. Will he come back for revenge? He's not quite close enough to attack into T1 this time. But you've got to think that maybe a different strategy, a different position to send that McLaren down the inside of the Renault. He's looking mega racy at the moment.
It really is, and I think the one thing is we've seen a position change for 3rd place. Beastas has lost out to J. Cole. I assume J. Cole must have, into turn 1, got the DRS on him as Charlie Harris. Is that Charlie Harris trying to go around the outside of Beastas? It is Charlie Harris trying to go around the outside. I just seen this flash of red and white while I was looking at, from the rear angle of J. Cole, and Charlie Harris trying to keep with J. Cole. Unfortunately, Beastas was having none of it, and Charlie Harris found himself a bit frustrated there, not being able to get the move done. But yeah, Beastas drops down into 4th place now, and Beastas got to try and play this sensibly. He can't get rattled by that, but J. Cole back up into 3rd place. I think what this battle is also doing, it's helping Stinson out, isn't it? Because with that 6 seconds worth of time penalties, if these guys are fighting it out, it'll surely guarantee him at least 2nd place with these guys falling away. As you can see, J. Cole is 5.8 seconds behind the leading pair. So the moment Stinson will probably get away with 6 seconds worth of time penalties, but he doesn't want to get any more, does he?
No, absolutely not, because charging Charlie Harris is now lining up Beastas down the straight. Charlie struggling on battery. You can see underneath 10% as he dips into 7% of battery as he gets the overtake done on Beastas. Beastas is going to try and stick around the outside, but looks as though Charlie's got the move done. Scott Buckner trying to get himself back involved in this party. He's dropped behind J. Cole and Charlie in this fight. Scott was looking in a clear 3rd position, and yeah, possibly maybe even a front wing change in the stop. Otherwise, it looks as though Scott sends it on Beastas down into turn 4. There's contact between the pair of them. It looks as though Beastas actually used his car just to straighten up Scott a little bit there, so perhaps just helping him out a little bit, realising there was a little bit of contact down into turn 4 and turn 5. But Scott, you can tell, the red mist will slow descend if he loses in too many positions and too many seconds, and he's going to be trying to get past Beastas as soon as possible. And yeah, the 2nd Renault will be thinking, well, he was eyeing up a podium all week long. He will not be satisfied with 6th position.
No, definitely not, and hopefully he can compose himself after that little kerfuffle, and we see Scott try and rectify that and get the move done now down the start-finish straight on Beastas. And to be fair, Gareth, we've not actually seen so far in this race that many incidents like that. It just shows the level of racing we have and the drivers we've got in this league. As you see, Scott Buckner does finally get that position on BSS this time, a lot more cleaner than the previous attempt. As Scott Buckner now will be hoping to then try and close in on the tryouts, but yeah, Scott Buckner much cleaner this time, into 5th place.
As Stinson and Harry still fighting it out. Stinson took a couple of laps off, just recharged his battery a little bit as Bando picks another penalty up. He's down in 11th position, just outside of the points, however, racking up a couple of penalties so far this evening. You can see Stinson still trying to put the pressure on Harry. Harry doing a very good job this evening of keeping it clean. He's without a penalty. Only himself, Scott Buckner and Beastas so far are inside the top 8 without a penalty. Scopefielder and Foxy are the other two, the only two on circuit that have yet to be slapped on the wrist by the race stewards for going offline. And Stinson still trying to fight with Harry, both of them struggling with battery, and we're only just over halfway through this one, so plenty more racing, Sab, to go. You've got to think Beastas, who came in, he's already done 13 laps on those mediums. That's probably why we're seeing him come under threat from Scott and Charlie, and those two have, well, quite a clear pace advantage. And as soon as these tyres go off around here, we've got a VSC. Who's that for? We've got a Mercedes. Hatari. Last season did so well in F2. Starting off the season, it's not a great start for Hatari. Down in 16th position, looks as though he's lost it before we even, just you can see on the map on screen in the stadium section. So we'll have to look back at that. It's a strange place to lose the car, and not a great way to start the season for Hatari.
No, definitely not. I didn't see what happened to him, but unfortunately it's an early bath for him as well. And yeah, Hatari, I've raced with Hatari in league racing, and he's a fast guy, so it's a shame to see us. Oh, that is a surprise to see. You don't often see Scopefielder pick up a penalty like that, a drive-through penalty for speeding under the VSC for Scopefielder. So yeah, that is a big penalty there for Scopefielder. He's in 11th place, so on the cusp of getting some points, and that'll drop him right down the order after picking up that one.
And devastatingly for Scope, he just made a stop under the VSC and actually saved himself time, and you can see Scope not happy at all, running offline and bailing out of that one, deciding to get out of that one. But Scope not happy. You can see with just by his body language. As in fact, we've just missed, I do apologise, a move for the lead with Stinson getting up ahead of Harry down the main straight. So Stinson now taking the lead of this one, 23 of 36 laps, so plenty of racing left to go. However, Stinson now ahead of Harry. He does, however, have quite a few penalties to his name. So it's a big ask for Stinson to build a gap over Harry, who's still looking quite racy. But it's Stinson getting ahead, exactly what he needed. Can he start to build a bit of a gap? Will Harry stay with him?
Yeah, I'll be honest, I completely missed that as well. I was just having a look at what happened with Scopefield. Unfortunately, Scopefield has retired, and yes, can Stinson now pull away from Harry? It's going to be a big ask to make up 6 seconds. He's probably going to have to rely on Harry to maybe pick up at least 3 seconds worth of time penalties just to at least halve that deficit. But at the moment, Stinson 7/10 of a second advantage. We've got a yellow flag in sector 1. I believe that's, I don't know who that's for. I believe it's
Scopefielder's retired car, I'd imagine, making his way out of the box.
But yeah, as we were saying, Stinson, he's going to be under some pressure now. It's different. He's from the chaser, from the hunter to hunter, so now Stinson will have all the pressure from Harry, and Harry not going to let him off lightly, is it? It's already 4 tenths, and that's really off-putting. That ghosted Scopefielder car cut right across my screen on Harry's view, so I imagine that would have been really off-putting for Harry, but obviously not. He's obviously a better race driver than I am, and he's really started to put the pressure on that McLaren. Stinson, though, what, with 12 laps remaining, what do you think, Gareth? Can he get this done? I think he's probably asked a bit too much of himself now with all the penalties.
Yeah, it's a big ask with of course with those 6 seconds that he's holding on to, and Harry, however, keeping it clean so far, will be pretty happy with how his race is going as TL44S picks up 3 seconds. He's down in 13th position. We'll review the penalties in just a second. We've got a yellow in sector 2. It looks as though that might still be for one of the Williams. I believe it might still be Scopefielder's car out on circuit circulating around. and so it's you can see you'll have flashing yellows, but for now, ignore it. We're still on with this one. Harry, now you can see he's recovered a little bit of battery. Will he have an attack back at the McLaren for the win of this one? Of course, lap 25 at 36. We're about 2/3 of the way through. Here comes Harry. Does he get the move done? He pulls to the inside line. Stinson doesn't manage to get across in time to cover it. Harry back up into the lead. Great move there from the Renault, just having to use that DRS. A little bit of boost from the battery, getting back up into the lead. And well, he doesn't make too many overtakes. We've seen him at the front too often. So, but Harry having to fight for this one, which is good to see.
It really is good to see. It's a shame that penalties will probably ruin the chance of Stinson winning this race, but Stinson has shown early on, hasn't he, his pace in IRL F1. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how he does for the remainder of the season. I'm just keeping an eye further down the field, and one driver we really haven't mentioned too much in this race is Rudy 1973. He's in the Red Bull, and he's really keeping the pressure on Royboy in the Racing Point in 6th place. Rudy, they both have 3 seconds worth of penalties, and Rudy just under that second mark, so really starting to put the pressure on the Racing Point. Can he get into the top 6 and really have a good race this evening? Because I think overall Rudy, despite that 3 seconds of Stinson, I apologise, Stinson has taken the lead because Harry is into the pits.
Yep, Harry in for his second stop. 10 laps left to go at the end of this one. Lap 26 of 36. Now, where will he come out? Will he come out back into traffic, which of course will not be ideal, as the Renault making his way around. It looks as though he might just come out behind the Ferrari of Rimac, who's making his way down the main straight now. Will Harry get up to speed in time? It looks as though Rimac might just about jump ahead of him. They're going to go side by side down into turn 1. Rimac, of course, on a different race to Harry. Will he yield and let the race leader through? He just about does. Harry, knowing that he needed to get past, held onto that inside line, and of course with that brand new soft tyres, he will happily take the position. Well, here's a fight that we've been used to for a while. It's Charlie Harris and Scott Bugner, and what happens when Charlie Harris and Scott Bugner get together? Well, there's usually fireworks, and I'm sure we'll see that on this one, as Scott has managed to get past and picked up another penalty. In fact, that's 2 quick fire penalties for Scott Bugner 7 in the second Renault. Charlie just needs to keep himself composed. Of course, 6 seconds for both of them now, so they are fighting for equal position. Both on 6 seconds of penalties, both fighting for position. Will we see them dive into the pit lane at the end of this one? Harry made his stop last time around. Will we see? We've got the McLaren in, and I imagine we're about to see Jakob, Scott Bugner, and Charlie Harris into the box. We do. Charlie a little bit later on the brakes there, and that releases Rudy. Rudy, of course, now up into what will be the current lead, but net lead by looks of it will be Harry BR25 comfortably.
I'm just keeping an eye further down on Foxy Red once again. He's having an exciting race. He probably doesn't want to be involved in such an exciting race, but he's having an exciting race, and he's trying to keep the pressure on TL4FS, who's, I'd say he's had a subdued race, hasn't he, TL4FS this evening? He's been down at the tail end of the race. He's in the points at the moment. It's just Charlie Harris and Scott Bugner have just come out ahead of him, but Foxy Red is getting jumped by Royboy. I did not see that whatsoever. Royboy in the pink Racing Point just down the outside, and Foxy Red, I think, was a little caught off guard there by that Racing Point. He was so focused on TL4 rest of that Racing Point just said, thank you very much, I'll take that, and there we go. We said he can't take any more penalties. Stinson has picked up another 3 seconds worth of penalties, and I think that's probably game over for him now in the race in terms of the win.
Yep, Harry comfortably leading this one. In fact, he's got a nice gap between himself and the McLaren in first and second position in net. Of course, he will close up to Rudy, but Rudy will be making his stop as we speak, which does release Harry into the lead, and he sets the fastest lap at 16.037. So the Renault, it's gone perfectly. Can he go from flag to flag? He's had a bit of a flight with Stinson. They've traded positions a couple of times, but Harry looks as though he's had the ultimate pace. Oh, there's a huge snap of oversteer there for TL4FS on the exit, and that's going to allow Royboy up the inside. As you say, Royboy getting a cheeky move done last time around. He got a little bit spooked and onto the line as Beast has picked up his first penalty of the evening. 3 seconds for the man in third position currently. He's just off the back, and he's on medium tyres compared to everyone else course, on the soft. So watch out for Jay Cole and Scott Bugner, of course, on brand new soft tyres. They've got enough time to cruise up to the back of that AlphaTauri. Will they have enough time to get past and build that gap over him? But well, Charlie Harris and Scott Bugner, they're still going at each other. Don't worry, Charlie will be eyeing up the back of his good friend Scott, and there's a lot of banter that goes back and forth between these pair of them. And well, as I said, potentially this might be the pairing we see in F1 next season. So will they play friendly? Will they ever? We'll see. We'll see if Charlie can get past Scott as they fight for. It's currently 5th and 6th position, but it would be a brilliant return to F1 for Charlie. And well, for the man that wasn't expecting to be inside the top 10 to be fighting for 5th, has got to be pretty well heartwarming for Charlie.
Most definitely, and you just think if there was a bit more practice in there for Charlie, you could imagine him really pushing for podiums based on tonight's form. But I'm going to keep an eye on for the last few remaining laps of this race on the battle for the minor points for 8th, 9th and 10th place. And we've got Rudy now really closing in on Bando Biz here for 10th place. Rudy in the Aston Martin Red Bull against the Racing Point down the long start finish. Can they break enough? Oh, yes, Rudy can. I thought he was going to leave it a bit too late there and pile into the Foxy Red, but no, that was a great overtake there for Rudy. And now Rudy slots his car into 10th place, that final points position. And now next up is Foxy Red. Foxy Red, around this gaggle of cars, has got the least amount of penalties. So Foxy Red, if he can keep it clean for the last few laps, could find himself jumping a few places through penalties. But as you're just talking of penalties, you've just seen Harry has picked up his first lot of penalties this evening.
Yeah, and 3 seconds up against 9, so he won't be too worried, but maybe it takes a little bit of a shine off the win for Harry. Of course, not tempting fate, of course. Anything can happen in the final 6 laps of this one. And he's got a 1.3 second gap between himself and Stinson. Stinson in danger of dropping behind Beastas now. So Beastas, who've picked up his first penalty, can potentially look at 2nd position. So, of course, Stinson does have a tyre advantage over Beastas, but, well, we will see who's got that pace in the late stages of this one. Well, Rudy's looking as though he's got the pace on Foxy Red. Fresher tyres, fresher compound, better compound. Will he be able to go down the inside? Foxy, you can see, using a lot of battery and the tow on TL44S. He's going to try and cover off the inside line, and Rudy unable to get the move done. Bando behind them in 11th position, picking up his 4th penalty evening. That's 12 seconds for the Racing Point. However, I wouldn't say it's been a particularly bad, well, not a bad evening, that'd be a bad way of saying it, but Bando, after making his return to F1, he started last season in F1, came back, and well, it's looking a little bit better. Just needs to shore himself up on these track limits.
Yeah, most definitely. I think from the start of the race where it went disastrously for him, I think he's recovered well, and if he could find himself into the points at the end of it, I think it would be a big relief. We've got a yellow flag in sector 3. I haven't seen what that is for, but could it have been for Beastas? Because Beastas has lost position and J. Cole is now into 3rd place. Beastas looked a bit out of shape in the stadium section, so I'm wondering whether it might have been for Beastas, because the yellow flag quickly went away. But J. Cole now up into 3rd place.
And J. Cole, who's managed to break away from Scott, who's been involved in his own battle with Charlie. So J. Cole looking as though, after making a first appearance in Vietnam in the final race of last season, is on for a debut podium, which would be well, fantastic result there for him, as Nathan picks up a 5-second speeding in the pit lane penalty. Not a great way to end this one. About 31 of 36 of the first round of season 12, the IRL F1 League on the PS4, with myself, Gareth Hall, and Alan Sabatino in the commentary box. And well, the first of 12 races here on a Monday evening, and plenty more racing throughout the week. Monday night, of course, is the F1 League on the PS4. Tuesday night is the F1 League on the Xbox and the F2 League on the PS4. You can find Xbox on twitch.tv, uploaded to YouTube later, and of course F1 PS4 will always be streamed live on YouTube. And then Wednesday evening, we've got the PC League, the F1 League on PC, and F3 and 4 for the PS4. Plenty of racing. And of course, Thursday we've got, I believe, Xbox F2 and the Realistic Performance League. So plenty of racing to come this week here from Mexico. Make sure if you're in the comments to let us know if you're enjoying it, and equally help us out by pressing the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new. If you've just found us, of course, you can help us out massively by subscribing, liking the videos, sharing with your friends on socials, doing all the good stuff, and of course going and checking out everything to do with Invictus at InvictusRacingLeague.com, and of course all the socials, Invictus RL on Twitter, Invictus Racing League on Instagram, and on Facebook. So yeah, you can do all the good stuff, you can help us out, and you can watch some fantastic racing whilst you're at it, with Charlie Harris and Scott Bugner still going at each other's throats, as we expect, as we're on lap 32 or 36. Stinson another 3 seconds there. Now he's in real danger now of starting to get into territory of dropping off the podium.
Yeah, definitely. J. Cole has 3 seconds worth of time penalties, but if he can get that within under 9 seconds, J. Cole could steal second place off Stinson here, and I think Stinson just needs to calm himself, gather himself a bit now for these last remaining laps. Make sure he just gets round these last 3 laps cleanly. He doesn't want to be picking up any more penalties, because he will be, like you say, in real danger of completely losing this podium. He's had a great race this evening, but the last few laps are really starting to hurt him now, to keep picking up these time penalties, trying to catch up with Harry. Personally, I don't know about you, Gareth, but I would just concede the fact that you've lost the race to Harry, and just consolidate second place, and make sure that the likes of J. Cole doesn't get the time over you to steal that second place.
Yeah, it's all about the heart of a racer, though, isn't it? You want to make sure that you're coming across the line first. But Stinson now within 0.8 of a second of Harry. He knows that he needs to. He's not going to win the race, but he needs to build that gap between himself and Beastas and J. Cole in 3rd and 4th position. Charlie Harris and Scott are still fighting over 5th and 6th, and now both Alfa Romeos are embroiled in a bit of a battle at the moment, with Charlie seemingly stuck to the back of the Renault, not able to get back past Scott, but Foxy Red as well, who's been on a different strategy to his teammate. He's down fighting with Bando Biz, TL44S and Rimac for the final points of the evening tonight. We're on lap 33, about to go on to lap 34 of the evening, with just 3 laps left to go in the opening round of Season 12 here, the Invictus Racing League IRL F1 League on the PS4, with myself, Gareth Hall, and Alan Sabatino. Of course, you can find us on social media at GT2_driving for myself, and at Alan Sabatino for Sab. We'll be bringing you all of the season's commentary on a Monday evening, 8 PM every single Monday night for the next 3 or 4, about 3 months or so. And Charlie Harris still unable to close in on Scott. Scott just tantalisingly a couple of tenths up the road from Charlie, and we'll just check in Charlie. He's still got a bit of battery to play with. Will Scott have saved up a little bit? No, Scott has actually got less battery than Charlie, so Charlie saving up a little bit now. Will he be smart and just think about making a move late in this one, and making sure that Scott can't come back at him?
I'm just keeping an eye on, as always, on the further down the field. There's a great battle between Bando Biz and Foxy Red. They have swapped positions in the last 3 corners at least 4 times. It's before as they just touch, and unfortunately that's lost both of them out badly to Rimac. Rimac, what a cunning move that was. He seen they were battling, the door wide open, and Rimac swooped in. That Scarlet Red Ferrari flew past both these cars and stole 9th place. Rimac was on the tail end of this battle, and seeing these two were tripping up over each other and taking 9th place, but Rimac does have 15 seconds worth of penalties.
And yeah, so positions will change come the end of this one, and well, will one of them be the lead? As we can see, Stinson now within 0.3 of a second of Harry. Of course, he does have 12 seconds of penalties underneath him, but well, you want to finish the race first. It will just be a bit of a confidence boost for Stinson, although he's got those penalties underneath him. Might just get under the skin of Harry, knowing that he's going to have a rival for this season. He's not going to have it all his own way. We're on lap 35 and 36, the penultimate lap of this one, and it is Harry BR25 that's leading by half a second to Stinson. Of course, Stinson with 12 seconds penalty, so basically an extra 9 seconds gap that Harry's well, got himself. Then J. Cole 6 seconds of penalties. However, he's ahead of Beastas and comfortably in 3rd position at the moment. So J. Cole will be very, very, I'm sure, when we speak to them in about 5 minutes' time, delighted as Roy picks up 3 seconds. He's down in 7th position. It's not a bad start to the evening for the season for the Racing Points. Currently in 7th and 10th position. But we go on to the final lap of this one, and we'll go on board with your leaders, and we'll just check in with Stinson as he closes in on Harry down towards turn 1. And in fact, he's going to line up the Renault. Can he go around the outside? Harry's going to have to go defensive. He's gone deep, and that's going to allow the McLaren to go around the outside. And in fact, get up into the net race lead. It's just penalties that are going to unfortunately be the undoing of the McLaren. And you can see a little bit of a waggle there. Perhaps just the McLaren just apologising for a little bit of contact into turn 1 and turn 2. But it's been a stellar race to open this season, Sab. Harry and Stinson are looking as though we're going to have a fantastic battle on our hands for the championship this season.
Most definitely. I'm really excited to see what Stinson can do this season. And just a little bit further back, the battle between Charlie and Scott. Charlie, on the final lap, has got the jump on Scott into 5th place. It was a good move with DRS, and Charlie now into 5th place there. Scott will be probably very frustrated with losing that on the final lap. But yeah, Charlie into 5th place, he'd be, I'm sure, pretty chuffed with that.
The streamers are up, and you can see the green, the white and the red. However, it's going to be Stinson across the line taking the flag, but it's going to be Harry BR25, your first race winner of the season here at the IRL F1 League on PS4, Invictus Racing League. He takes the first 20, or the whole heap of points for the race win. That 15 points goes his way. In fact, 16 because he gets the fastest lap. J. Cole, 3rd place on the line, and in fact we've got a big collection of cars making their way into the main straight. As you can see, it's J. Cole, Beastas, Charlie up into 5th position, Scott Bugner in 6th, Rudy, Foxy Red up into 8th, Roy Boy, Bando Biz and Rymac just outside, of course, with those penalties. We'll bemoan them. He finishes in 11th, TL44S, Andre, Nathan and everyone else finding themselves a car parking space in the pretty close to the pit lane, as the last people to come around into the stadium section will be Finn Marcus. Not a great opening to his season. He's picked up he's had a pretty carefree evening, actually. No penalties for Marcus as he jumps ahead of Nathan, and Burmeister will be your last one across the line, and thus ending a fantastic first race of the season here on a PS4. Hopefully you all enjoyed it, and you really enjoyed the battle between Stinson and between Harry. We'll be speaking to all 3 of Stinson, Harry and J. Cole very, very shortly, as soon as they join us. Foxy Red gets driver of the day, so the Alfa Romeo driver, I'm sure, who I know treasures those, will be delighted with that. But what a race we've seen there, Sab, and Harry starting off the season exactly how he wanted to.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think I'd have to agree with Foxy Red being driver of the day. He did extremely well to come from the back and get amongst the points at the end. But yeah, superb from Harry this evening. He did exactly what he needed to do. Start the season strongly, get to the pole position, get the race win. Absolutely superb.
As Harry BR25 takes the race win in 47 minutes, 22 seconds ahead of Stinson. Unfortunately, Stinson, with those penalties, just falls into 2nd position after coming across the line first. J. Cole, brilliant first podium for the Red Bull man. He finishes in 3rd with Beastas. Charlie will be delighted with 5th, ahead of Scott Bugner, who just couldn't hold off the charging Alfa Romeo. Rudy in 7th. And Foxy Red in 8th. Roy Boy and Bando round out your points-paying positions, with Rymac, TL44S, Andre. Finn Marcus takes the moral high ground this evening, the only driver to not pick up a penalty all evening long, in 14th position. TGG Nathan and Burmeister, your last of the remaining finishers. In fact, actually, Nathan stole the fastest lap. I said that Harry had it, but Nathan stole it on the final lap. A 15 flat for Nathan. And unfortunately, earlier in the evening, we lost Hatari and Paul Racetech. But, wow, brilliant start to the season. Plenty more coming up throughout the week. So make sure you tune in, of course, tomorrow evening for the F2 League on the PS4, the F1 League on the Xbox over on twitch.tv. You can find out all the links by going to the socials at Invictus RL on Twitter, and of course Invictus Racing League on Instagram and on Facebook, or going to the website invictusracingleague.com, where you can get yourself on the grid. Plenty of spaces left in some of the leagues to go for this season. So if you'd like to be a part of Invictus, make sure you get your name up and you get yourself signed up. It's always great to see more people joining the community. And it looks as though, Sab, we've got some of our podium finishers joining the lobby. And have you got a few words for our race winner, Harry BR25?
Well, I just want to say a big congratulations, Harry. That looks like a tough evening racing against Stinson. Stinson, in the end, losing out through penalties. But I'm imagining you'd have probably wanted a more comfortable evening, but in the end, it's still a win.
Yeah, for sure. It's very far from comfortable. I think Stinson did an unbelievable race. I think he was for sure much faster. I think in the race. I was just sort of getting here. The dirty air is so key around here, particularly in the sort of quick S section at the end of the second sector. He was always very close going into it, but obviously dirty air, he'd lose maybe 3, 4, sometimes even half a second in just those 4 corners, which was allowing me to stay ahead. And then I think, just obviously the undercut on both pit stops definitely helped, gave me a little bit of a cushion. And then of course time penalties as well, which I knew was always going to be key. I haven't managed to finish a race here. I think I did 2 practice races here over the last week and a bit, and both of them have got disqualified. So to finish with just 3 seconds is a bit of a miracle.
Well, that was leading on to my next question. Is, with this track quite synonymous with picking up penalties, did you go into this race thinking about maybe taking it a bit easier, knowing that it's quite easy to pick up these penalties, or do you just stick to what you know best, stick to your way you're racing, and just hope that you don't pick up as many penalties as people around you?
No, I think when I look at the laps I probably was doing maybe even an hour ago in practice, when you're not really thinking about it, you just always think about the lap time. I think for sure I was missing quite a lot of time every single lap, but just because I was being cautious, because I knew, I think particularly if there's a late safety car, which I think we had one VSC, but I think round one's usually a little bit hectic, so I was expecting a safety car at some point. Of course, if that comes late, then it usually then comes down to penalties that decide positions, regardless of how quick you've been in the race. So I was quite conscious of that. But yeah, I think Australia's up next, which I think I haven't done a league race yet, but I think it's not as bad. I think for time penalties, so hopefully they'll be a bit more pace conscious.
Well, congratulations, mate. Anyway, it's the perfect start to the season for yourself, and going into Australia, I'm sure you'll be full of confidence after tonight. And I'll move swiftly on to Stinson this evening. And good evening, and welcome to IRL Invictus F1 League. And wow, you certainly wowed me and Gareth this evening with your pace. Do you feel a little frustrated with the amount of penalties you did pick up, unfortunately not be able to get a race win, or are you ultimately pleased with coming home in second place?
Just like Harry said, that dirty air in the second sector cost me half a second every lap. Each lap I was 3 tenths behind before the S section, and at the end I was 8 tenths behind. And I underestimated so bad that I got the first 3 seconds all from warnings in the S section because I just couldn't get the throttle down. But I thought 3 seconds, no worries, Harry probably gets a penalty too. Only when I battled him for the first time, I think it was in the second stint, I kept it around the outside at the beginning of sector 2. And there was not much room. I had to go off track to not crash each other out, and the game decided to give me 3 warnings in 2 corners. So that was my second penalty, and then I just got a little bit careless. I looked at the gap behind and thought, well, they're never going to catch us, even on penalties, so I got a little bit too careless for the penalties after the 6 seconds.
Does it give you confidence, seeing Harry, he was the runner-up last season in F1, and going into the season as the title favourite, does it give you confidence knowing you can, into this season, battle with him and really push for the IRL F1 Championship?
Yeah, I really hope so. For the moment, I'm just a reserve. I'm first in line to get the permanent seat, but I hope to stick around all season and challenge for the wins.
Well, you've certainly impressed me, and I think Gareth, he's certainly impressed you this evening. Unfortunately, I don't believe we've managed to get our third place man in the podium chat with us this evening. But your thoughts on these two this evening, mate?
No, fantastic start to the season. Yeah, congratulations goes out to Harry. As much as it probably pains me to say he had a fantastic race this evening, and equally Stinson, it's great to see new guys in the league and fighting at the front. And J Cole, unfortunately, a couple of mic issues, which is probably not ideal for a commentator, but as we all know, it can happen. But he has truly deserved his place. Really good to see a brand new podium in F1. But yeah, brilliant way to start the season, Sab. Really looking forward to seeing what these guys can do for the next 11 rounds. As Harry said, off to Australia next, so another circuit that isn't particularly overtake friendly, and it's going to be another tight and action-packed, we'd like to say. If it's anything like what we saw this evening from Mexico, where we saw wheel banging, we saw action up and down the track all the way from 1st to 19th, and with a full grid hopefully making their way out on circuit in Melbourne, it should be another brilliant evening. But as you say, great start to the season for Harry. Really decent drive from him. Did a really good job of just holding on to the position. Stinson, he shows that he can get himself at the front and he can fight for this championship if, of course, he can get himself a permanent seat in the league, and hopefully he does get that as much. But yeah, that is us done for this evening. Thank you very much for joining us. Hopefully you've enjoyed the stream. Hopefully you've enjoyed the race. It's been great to be back. Great to have you with us. Good to see you all in the comments chatting away. And of course you can like, share and subscribe on the video, doing all the good stuff you do on the socials. Head to invictusracingleague.com for more. And of course all on the socials, where you'll find out all about the rest of the racing that's going on this week in Invictus from all three platforms, from PS4, Xbox and of course on PC on Steam. And from myself, Gareth, and Sab. There we go, get it wrong already. But myself, Gareth, and Sab, thank you very much for joining us. We'll be back next Monday, 8 p.m. Have a great week. Stay safe. We'll see you soon.